Chris Avina with American Outdoor News. Welcome to another episode. And today we're here with my friend Tony Smotherman from CVA. Tony, thanks so much for coming on. It's always great to see you.
Well, what's going on, man? What's going on, guys? It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to have me on the podcast.
Well, I'm glad we had time to catch up in Vegas at SHOT Show, but there's always so much going on at CVA.
Yep.
We met before I even had American Outdoor News.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I had seemehunt.com at the time. That it was a small social network, and I was at the Long Shot tour outside of Dallas that you hosted. And
yeah, man, I can't remember how long that's been, but it's been long enough that I can't remember it now. So.
Well, I'm rolling into my 7th year with American Outdoor News, so it's been a while.
Oh man, well that is a statement right there to your commitment to promoting the outdoors. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, I got to say, at that time, I knew about CVA, but I was really impressed with the accuracy and distance that your muzzleloaders really had. I mean, it was astonishing.
So it's funny. So my history kind of takes me back into 30 years of hunting exclusively with a muzzleloader. I got into the outdoor industry when I was 19 years old, and I was working for another muzzleloading manufacturer called Knight Muzzleloaders. And basically, Tony Knight, the inventor of modern inline muzzleloading that we know today, was a pioneer. And I had the opportunity to work for him right out of high school there, or soon thereafter, coming out of high school. And it was like the revolution or evolution of muzzleloaders was really strong in the mid-'80s when Tony Knight come out with the first inline muzzleloader. And that innovation kind of ran pretty strong up until, we'll say, early 2000s. And after that, the technology is kind of stayed the same for about 15 years or so. And I worked for Tony until 2009, and Knight Rifles, the original Knight Rifles closed in '09. And then I started with CVA the next morning after the closure of Knight, and I think that was August 1st of 2009, I believe is right. But nonetheless, the evolution of muzzleloading was very strong in those early years of Tony doing Knight muzzleloaders in the 80s and 90s. But then it went kind of stagnant for a while, and then we picked it back up again when we introduced the Accura series that you mentioned there in, we'll say, 2012, 13, 14 is when we started really changing things, and that come along with the introduction of our Bergara barrels on our Accura muzzleloaders, and we started adapting new twist rates, and then we also saw an evolution in powder, which is when Blackhorn 209 kind of hit the streets. So there was several modern advancements that really jumped us forward to where we're getting today, or where we're at today, and that's modern evolutions of projectiles, powder, and also barrel twist rates, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of neat how the muzzleloading industry was the same until the 80s, side lock or flintlock, and then went to modern inline, and it was like rocket ship up of the modern advancements, then it went stagnant again, and then here in the 2012, 13, 14, it just started ramping back up again, and now where we're at today in 2025, it's like it's a rocket ship moving forward of modern advancements. Now we're down into, so we'll talk about twist rates for just a second, but like originally the twist rates in the muzzleloader was 1 in 48, which was very good for full bore lead bullets or round balls. And then we made this huge jump and went from 1 in 48 down to, or up to, faster twist rates of 1 in 28. And that's where we started shooting sabots and things like that. So that was kind of cool advancement. Then it stayed the same. And we're into muzzleloading testing right now of twist rates down into 1 in 18s, because we have super long, high BC bullets that we've never had before, high ballistic coefficient bullets that we've never had before. So a lot of advancements going on right now, and it's kind of cool to see things moving forward. And where I'm at right now is in my bunkhouse. My computer and cam is sitting on top of my product development testing table. So I got stuff here that you can't see for a reason, that we're testing, prototyping here right now on the CVA brand. And there's going to be some crazy advancements moving forward when we get to mid and fall of 2025. So cool to be in the age of technology, especially on the muzzleloader side of things, you know.
Well, the only muzzleloader I own is a CVA, but it's an older one. I think it's a Omni,
So it could be
Omega,
would it be Optima?
Optima.
Yep.
It's old. I need to upgrade. And even when we were at the long shot tour, you went from a 50 cal to a 40.
So yeah, so that's also some advancements that we've played with over the last let's see, 2025. So probably 6 or 7 years we've been playing with. You know, the number one muzzleloader in the world today as far as caliber is a 50 caliber, because 50 caliber has been out since the beginning of time. There's a ton of muzzleloading projectiles available for that. But you know, again, we're in the age of development. We're on a webcam, on an iPad, with earbuds talking to you, and talking to your listeners across the country. So, modern advancements is touching everything that you and I know. And so we've bumped down into the 45 caliber muzzleloaders. And, in my time of being in the muzzleloader industry, 45 caliber has come and gone 4 different times. Originally, when we started playing with 45 caliber, we wanted long range, we wanted light projectile, super fast, flat shooting. So that era of that thinking in the 45 caliber is went up and come down very quickly 3 times over the last 25 years. But we introduced under the CVA brand a 45 caliber here about 7 years ago, I believe is right, and we spun up the twist rate, or made the twist rate faster, and then incorporated a longer, higher BC bullet, heavier bullet than we've ever introduced in a 45 caliber as a muzzleloading industry as a whole. So our 45 calibers now are running 1 in 22 twist, 285 grain, which is a super long, high BC bullet. I'm actually even prototyping a 325 grain power belt ELR for 45 caliber now. So, the original bullets we shot were like 175 grain. So that was the reason it went up and went down 3 different times over the last 3 decades, is we realized that the bullet was fast, but it also run out of kinetic energy very quick because of that light projectile. So we introduced longer, high BC, heavier bullets in a 45 caliber. So now the 45 caliber is here to stay, because it is a true long range muzzleloader, which is, again, what I mentioned, technology. That's where we're headed in technology. Is everybody wants to shoot flatter, longer, and be more successful at longer ranges, because long range shooting is a thing today. And with the modern advancements of optics that we're running, we all have 30 millimeter tubes, 56 millimeter bell ends with adjustable spin turrets, with MOA and MRAD adjustability. So that world of technology of optics and long range shooting has now jumped into the muzzleloading world. So that's why we went from the 50 to the 45. But as you mentioned, we also have stepped into the 40 caliber market, which is just next level muzzle velocity, next level trajectory, and definitely extending the ranges, pun intended, of muzzleloaders today.
Yeah, to say I was shocked at the result would be an understatement.
As were we too, I think. It was some of those test plans that gets developed on this desk I'm sitting on here. Has basically come to fruition of actually some of that testing and stuff. We were going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is actually real and it works this well. It was so much that when we went into that 40 caliber, muzzle velocities, in theory, have hovered between 1,800 and 2,200 feet per second out of most traditional muzzleloaders today. But in the 40 caliber, we were hovering up around that 2,600 foot per second mark, depending on the powder charge, and that's with a Blackhorn 209. So we have reached all new heights of muzzle velocity, muzzle or projectile trajectory that I never thought we'd ever achieve in a muzzleloader. I guess I should say that.
Now, over the past few years, your R&D has really been spectacular, but you've also taken a giant leap forward with firearms.
Yeah, so the CVA brand has always been known as a muzzleloader manufacturer. We started manufacturing side hammer guns in 1971. So it's been a minute. But again, as evolution happens and modern advancements of everything that we touch and feel today, we thought that there was, or felt that there was basically a hole in the market for firearms manufacturing. We've been known as blue collar America's muzzleloader, which we're very proud of that. We tried to build something that is affordable and offer different levels of affordability in muzzleloading. So no matter what your budget is, you can get in the woods and partake in a muzzleloading season. But we've also saw a trend in bolt action firearms, which obviously is the staple of the hunting world. But we've also saw a trend in that getting to a point where it may be unachievable for folks because firearm manufacturing is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
And with our manufacturing capability and horsepower under the CVA brand, we felt we could bring a very affordable bolt action gun to the market. So if we back up just a touch and think about the muzzles that we manufacture the Wolf, the Optima, the Acura, and our Break Open series. We make everything on that gun. So when I say manufacturing horsepower, we don't outsource anything. We make the butt pad, the stock, the trigger shoes, the sears inside, the breech plugs, the barrel, the threaded cap on the Acuras that have threaded muzzles. We make everything on that gun. So we have manufacturing horsepower. So we figured we could just transfer some of that technology with our engineers into building an amazing bolt gun. And that's where the CVA Cascade come into the lineup. And we've been building that on a 6-year platform now and have multiple different models underneath that Cascade lineup because it has proven to be an amazing contender, again, because we build the barrels, the triggers, the bolt handles. And we threw some technology in there too that was not available today through most other bolt guns because a lot of the bolt guns are built on a Remington 700 platform as far as the action design.
Yeah.
That design is one of the more expensive actions to design. So in the CVA Cascade, one of the reasons or ways we were able to keep that price low and affordable for everybody was we built it off of a Savage 110 platform. And the Savage 110 action, we didn't cut corners on it to make it less expensive. Actually, how it comes out is the Savage 110 action takes less man time and less machine time to build that action in completion. So we're able to save money, not by cutting corners again, but also by using an action that just takes less man time. But one thing we changed on it is the bottom side of that action is a proprietary design by us so that we'll set a Remington 700 trigger assembly. Even though the action itself is Savage 110, you don't have to run an Acura trigger. You can run a Remington trigger style,
sure,
like Trigger Tech or Jewel or Timothy or something like that, But in that action design too, when I was talking about the Remingtons being more expensive, they also have a longer bolt throw, which is basically from lock position up, which is your ability to cycle that action faster. It's a 90-degree bolt throw in any kind of Remington clone. In our CVA Cascade, we actually built in a 70-degree bolt throw so that it actually cycles. You can cycle the bolt faster and get that second round moving quicker.
Yeah, and what I found that it's a fairly light rifle, but even more so when you shoulder it, the balance, any weight just falls away, and it's really a comfortable gun to shoot.
Yeah, we're really tickled with the outcome. I think we played behind the scenes for about 3 years of trying to design that, and we wanted to make sure that ergonomically it fit multiple different magnitude of body sizes. So if you're an archer, if you guys are listening to the podcast and you're an archer, you know how important fit is when you're grabbing a bow. It's the proper knocking point all the time. It's the proper draw length, the proper draw weight. There's many factors to go into making that bow fit you. And I don't think a lot of folks consider when they're shouldering a firearm that they need to kind of do the same scenario. The fit needs to be right, the palm swell needs to be right, the length of pull needs to be right for you to be an effective and accurate long-range shooter, which in turn is going to be have you more effective when it comes to punching tags. So in the CVA Cascade lineup, we have adjustable length of pull, which is, I think, crucial. I'm a kind of a tall guy, and there's other guys that women and children that want to shoot our guns too. So we made it to where that the gun that I shoot, I could remove a spacer and let my son shoot or let my wife shoot. So I think that was pretty crucial to have that adaptability, but also have that adaptability to where it's affordable for everybody. And we now have, again, I think it's layer number 4 in the Cascade line is our long range hunter or Cascade LRH, and it has an adjustable cheek piece. So for guys that are getting into long range shooting, and also want to run big glass, aka 34 millimeter tubes I'm seeing now with 56 or 60 millimeter bell ends and 5 to 30 power magnification. We now also build a Cascade for those folks too, that can keep a proper cheek well with having adjustable cheek piece. So, we're kind of morphing the line as we go, but when we come out to the market, we wanted to make sure it was affordability, function, accuracy, and adaptability to multiple different body types, and also shooting scenarios that they want to get into.
Now, the barrels, are they carbon, the barrels?
No, we don't do anything carbon in the Cascade lineup for the sheer fact of, again, our thought process is we want to make sure that we are able to sell product to the masses. And when you pull in carbon, unfortunately, carbon makes things go up.
Yeah. And right now they're tariff free.
Oh, yes, so true, so true. So all of our barrels are steel barrels that we manufacture in our facility. And depending on which gun it is, we obviously have multiple different barrel styles as far as tapers, even down to fluted stuff on our varmint gun, and some of our, like Cascade XT has flutes on the barrels too. So we manufacture that in house too, but we haven't stepped in the carbon world just because we know it's going to get to a price point that we really don't want that Cascade to be in just yet.
Are those Figaro barrels?
They are.
Outstanding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Always an impressive brand. Now, is there, I know you get to hunt quite a bit, being a gun manufacturer. Of course, you got to field test it.
It's not a bad thing, I can promise you. It's a true blessing, no doubt. So, yes, sir, get to spend a lot of time behind these guns. Typically, it's about a 6-month portion of my year, which is involved in hunting.
Is there a memorable hunting story that that stands out with the CVA as well as the rifles?
Oh gosh. So yes, absolutely. Again, very blessed to be able to do what I do in the CVA brand and help build and design muzzleloaders and then go out and field test them. And I also handle all of our media side of things as well for the brand. So I work with 13 different TV shows, and it's a blessing to be able to spend time with these guys in the field. So typically I'm the company man that gets to go spend a little time with them hunting each fall. And of course, in deer camp, that's when all the business happens. We're talking about what's going on with our brand. Obviously we're playing with new guns, whether it's muzzleloaders or centerfires. So a lot of memories for sure that I've racked up, but there's, on the centerfire side of things, I'm sure you can tell by my voice, I am, from the South. It's kind of hard to hide that. But one of my favorite things in the world is I feel like I was born in the wrong century. I feel like I should have been a cowboy. I should have been born out west. Thankfully, my wife is from Wyoming, so we spend a lot of time in Wyoming. So we have a ranch out there that we manage mule deer hunting on. So out there, typically, because of the Cascade is such a feature-rich rifle and a long-range capable gun, I typically am toting a CVA Cascade in Wyoming. And so every September, we make the pilgrimage, if you will, headed to Wyoming, and we spend time behind Cascades there, hunting mule deer, which is by far my favorite animal to pursue. But here where I'm at today, where we're filming now, I've moved to the great state of Iowa for the sheer fact of that, well, we all know when you say Iowa what that means. The best whitetail hunting this world has to offer. And my bunkhouse here that I'm in, which is our gun building station and product testing areas here, whitetail is a thing, and downside to Iowa is centerfire stuff is not allowed here. It's shotgun or muzzleloader only state. And this last year, I was the first time I'd ever hunted here as a resident. I've hunted here in Iowa, since I was 19 years old, because the night muzzleloading facility that I started working at, it's only about 15 miles east of where I'm at right now. But this farm in particular, my first home farm here now in Iowa, spent a lot of time food plotting last summer to get prepped, just to kind of get tuned up and ready for the fall. And my number one hit list buck that showed up here in Iowa was probably about 175-inch 5x5 or a big 10-pointer. And then my second number one come in, push my number one to number two, was 195-inch 5x6. that lived here every day. I saw him every day. It was amazing to live the fall watching this guy from a distance through trail cameras and things like that. And finally, we got wind right, went in. And my first deer here in Iowa on my first farm that I purchased was a 195-inch deer with an Acura LRX 45 caliber.
What distance?
251.
Nice.
Again, technology has stepped into the muzzleloading world to where that when we used to sight guns in 100, and that was kind of our sweet spot. Now on our 45 caliber Acuras, I zero my guns at 200, just because they have the capability with modern propellants and modern projectiles that we talked about. That 250 yards is not a thing anymore, especially with the optic manufacturing with the adjustable turrets and stuff.
Yeah, here in New York, if we have a 100-yard shot, that's a long shot.
You know, and in Tennessee, where I grew up at, was the same exact way. You know, it's a lot of timber country. But if you've ever been to Iowa, you know Iowa is very open country. This farm here, our home farm, is on the south side of Iowa, right in the central portion, right out of Missouri. So we have a lot of rolling terrain here. It's much steeper and nastier than you would think about Iowa. So we're not up in the flat portion. But even though we're rolling areas, a lot of our stuff is open cornfields and cattle operations and things like that. So even though we're in a rolling portion of Iowa, I get much longer distance than I ever have my whole life. So yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty cool terrain and it's very adaptable to a 45 caliber muzzleloader.
So what innovations are coming up that you can talk about?
So we got some really cool stuff coming. I wish I could tell you everything. We're just right on the cusp of introducing some very interesting new products. But one of the cool features of our lineup that we introduced at SHOT Show, well, there's two. One is near and dear to my heart, which is at the exact same time we're filming this episode. It's turkey season here in Iowa and in most portions across the country. So we introduced a new CVA 410 we call the Scout Spur. Again, touching on technology, a 410 was not a viable turkey gun 6 or 7 years ago to this new product hit the market called TSS or Tungsten Super Steel. So 4 years ago, we introduced a Scout 410, and with choke tube design and modern advancements of the TSS shot that everybody's putting out on the market today, it made a 410 a very valuable and valid option for turkey hunting. So we started building that several years ago, and it become a tremendous success. So we introduced a brand new one called the Scout Spur. This is 4 years into the 410 design. So we changed the stock design a little bit with made it also where you have adjustable length of pull, also where you have a saddle that goes on the stock so you can keep a proper cheek well, but again, because everybody's body types are different. So we want to make sure that it was adaptable for everybody. Then we changed and increased the pistol grip on it where it's got a little bit bigger palm swell than the original 410 had. So we introduced that at SHOT Show 2025, which is a couple months behind us now. But once we got that gun on the street, it sold within, I feel like, seconds, almost like Garth Brooks tickets. You know, as soon as they go on sale, they're gone. And that Scout Spur 410 did the same thing. So that was new for us for 2025. Also in the Cascade lineup, we introduced something new. It's called the Scout SR or Suppressor Ready, and it has a 16.5-inch barrel on it, which is super short. But, you know, I'm sure that everybody's listening to the podcast today understands suppressors and things like that, and they are becoming a staple of the shooting world, and they got pushed back or kind of depressed down a little bit for several years because of the time frame it took for people to get them, and it basically frustrated people trying to get a suppressor. Because I think the first one I purchased, it took me 22 months to get. I got one last week. It took 13 days.
Wow.
So yeah, the feds they figured it out. They figured out the fast forward button when it comes to running the paperwork through suppressors. So with that said, we had a short barrel Cascade several years ago, and it's been a staple. But because the suppressors are so much more readily available, and we do talk and deal with suppressor companies all the time, and they're telling us about the sales and the volume that they're pushing out, tells us that suppressors are just becoming a staple for most hunters and shooters across the country. And if it's not yet, it will be. So we designed a Cascade specifically for that, aka the SR, which with the 16.5-inch barrel. And you know, if you if you have a traditional gun with a 24 or 26-inch barrel, and then you put a suppressor on top of it, you know that that's a really long, tall gun. And it's good for, you know, if you're out west, you can get on bipods and things like that. But for us whitetail guys, if you're in a box blind or in a tree stand and you got a 26-inch barrel bolt action gun and then a suppressor on top of it, I mean, that sucker's 6 feet long, it feels like.
Yeah.
So we built a Cascade that's just more suitable for running a suppressor in whitetail hunting scenarios.
Well, here in New York, I don't have to worry about suppressors because it'll take me 13 years to get one.
I know, and I'm sorry about that, brother. But just so you know, at some point in time, you can do just like I did and move to a state where they're widely accepted, I should say.
There will come a day.
But yeah, so I know there are a few states out there that still struggle with rules and regulations on suppressors. But for most of the world, everybody can get a suppressor now pretty doggone quick. So we built a gun that was more adaptable to that scenario and hunting in close quarters, aka a tree stand or box blind for the whitetail hunters across the country.
Yes, sir. Well, where can we find you guys?
Social media, so man, website? You know, again, technology is a wonderful thing. We are very accessible in all social media platforms under CVA muzzleloaders, under CVA.com. You know, and I just wanted to make mention now, for you guys up there, do you guys have a dedicated muzzleloading season up there?
We do. It's in the dead of winter. It's after rifle season in late December, and it's only a week long, but I would travel for muzzleloader.
Yeah. Well, you know, the great thing, too, I know some of that time of year can be brutal to hunt with a muzzleloader when you're talking late season, but in theory, late season has kind of been one of my favorites just due to the sheer fact that we're not talking about hunting the rut, which can be hit or miss due to the hot doe being on your farm or the neighbor's farm. But late season, if you have food plots, then, you know, obviously everything's on the feedback patterns at that time. They've been run down from the rut. So I think even though it could be cold and nasty, it could be a great opportune time to hunt with a muzzleloader. And one thing I was going to mention about that is, you know, so part of what I get to do, like obviously get to see you at SHOT Show every year. We do about 3 months of trade shows, and that is trade shows all over the country. So we get to speak to and visit with all kind of hunters that live in different states with different regulations. And I feel like that right now, even though we've been very busy in the muzzleloading world with new technology, that there's still hunters out there that are, I guess, new to the sport or still maybe a little bit uneasy about stepping into muzzleloading because it feels complicated if you look at it from a distance.
Yep.
But if you jump into it and you go, oh, well, that's it. There's nothing to it.
It's really easy. Really?
Yeah, it is really easy. And I was just in Denver, Colorado here this last week at a Mile High Hunting Expo, and Colorado has a great muzzleloading season out there for big game. And there's a lot of people that come to our booth that was wanting to get into it, but was a bit nervous because, again, the bark felt bigger than what the bite actually was. So we built a video series through Realtree Outdoors, the Realtree Camouflage Company, and also ourselves at CVA called an Advantage series through Realtree, and then one that I did through the CVA brand as Essentials to Muzzleloading. And both of these video series, whether it's on the Realtree website or the CVA.com website, is a very deep dive into muzzleloading, and it's talking about different projectiles and powders and twist rates and different gun builds and how they function. So if there's listeners out here today that is listening to American Outdoor News, we have an amazing update video series again on Realtree.com and CVA.com that does a deep dive into it. So if you've been thinking about getting into muzzleloading, you can go to these particular websites and get all the information you want to know. And it may be a bit of information overload, but I want to make sure that if there's people out there that want to try to play ball in the muzzleloading field and take part in that late season muzzleloader time that you guys have up there, that they can get all that information through our website. So we're very accessible through all social media platforms, and also our website, CVA.com, is loaded with information as well.
Well, I will say, on a closing note, I do guide in Pennsylvania now and then. Mm-hmm. And last season we had somebody come during muzzleloader season, and he had a CVA right out of the box. Never shot it before. So we
literally right out of the box.
Literally. So we actually
somehow that doesn't surprise me.
we put him on the bench. He never even fired it before. So we put him on the bench, made sure, to get it sighted in properly. Didn't take all that much to sight it in. That came pretty much ready to shoot.
Yes, sir.
But we got him zeroed in, in a couple shots, gave him a feel how to reload and whatnot. I had to walk him through all the paces, and
sure.
He shot his first deer ever with a muzzleloader on that trip.
Oh man, well, good for you for being a mentor and getting that guy tuned up.
Yeah, we do what we need to do, right?
Absolutely. That's what we should do as adult men and sportsmen, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, well, I want to thank you again for taking the time to speak to us today.
Hey, man, absolutely my pleasure and my honor. Thank you so very much for allowing me to be on you guys' podcast.
Well, again, go to CVA website, check out their new line. You're not going to be disappointed. If you haven't subscribed to the American Outdoor News podcast, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes, sir. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.